British soldiers suddenly discovered with horror that an elite Indian unit had emerged from the grass, moving stealthily toward their positions. He urgently reported the situation to his commander, who immediately ordered artillery fire on the grassy area. A barrage of shells instantly blanketed the thicket, inflicting heavy casualties on the concealed Indian troops. After the bombardment ceased, the British dispatched a small squad to investigate. The tall, dense grass forced them to advance cautiously and slowly. Suddenly, the Indian troops launched an attack. Caught completely off guard, the British squad was thrown into disarray, abandoning their equipment and fleeing in panic. The British defenders in the position immediately retaliated with mortar fire. Braving fierce machine gun fire, the Indian troops charged into the British trenches, shouting as they advanced. Leveraging their numerical superiority, they successfully overran the position. This was an Indian National Army unit under Japanese command, used by the Japanese as cannon fodder to lead assaults and bear the brunt of combat. Subsequently, this Indian puppet force advanced like a tidal wave, driving the British back in a series of retreats. By March 1944, this Indian National Army unit was deployed to the Impul front, where their nightmare began. With the Japanese front stretched too thin, food supplies completely failed to keep pace. The Indian National Army soldiers not only went hungry but were also forced to dig trenches and build fortifications for the Japanese, while the British and Indian allied forces enjoyed ample airdrop supplies. The Japanese commander at the time was Lieutenant General Renya Makita, commander of the 15th Army. A profound admirer of Genghis Khan, he sought to emulate the Mongol leader's strategy of seizing territory wherever he advanced, sweeping across Eurasia without logistical support. What he failed to anticipate was the onset of the jungle monsoon season, which bred viruses and infectious diseases, causing relentless casualties among the Indian troops. The Indian National Army was forced to survive on leaves, enduring this ordeal for 3 months. As the Japanese suffered successive defeats in the Pacific theater, they decided to withdraw from Southeast Asia, abandoning the Indian National Army to fight alone. To survive, the soldiers supported each other out of the rainforest, taking refuge in the war-ravaged ruins. This Indian National Army unit thus became a rebel force. Soon, an armored unit composed of British and Indian troops was dispatched to suppress them. As the British forces crossed a bridge, the Indian National Army triggered an explosive device, igniting the battle. The British sent Indian soldiers to charge at the front while commanding from the rear, forcing the Indian troops into fratricidal combat. Both sides engaged in fierce fighting amid the ruins. With British tanks providing overwhelming firepower, the Indian forces suffered devastating losses. Without Japanese armed support from behind, they were no match for the British and fell one after another on the battlefield, ultimately captured in full. After Japan's surrender, the Indian National Army was branded as traitors. In November 1945, at Delhi's Red Fort, they were tried as rebels in a military tribunal for waging war against the British Empire. Following trials by senior judges, officers were largely sentenced to death by firing squad, while rank-and-file soldiers were imprisoned. Yet Indian civilians regarded the Indian National Army as heroes. Thousands took to the streets protesting British colonial rule and demanding their release. To maintain its colonial hold on India, the British were compelled to free the enlisted men. Though India did not participate in World War II as an independent nation, its involvement was far from minor. Indian forces were deployed across the globe, with nearly 2 million British Indian soldiers active in Asia, North Africa, and Europe. Tens of thousands more joined Japanese or German forces, serving as collaborators.